Hello everyone, I am Jenny Axler and welcome to this video in our new series on the Braille eMotion 40 Braille display. Most of you have probably heard a little bit about this already from CSUN or from our webinar on Sight and Sound, various other sources, newsletters, etc. This has kind of been our big thing for the last month. So we're going to start a new series in which we will give you a tour of some of the most prominent features and functions of this device. So let's get to it. We'll start with a physical tour of the device. The most prominent feature of the top face is going to be your Perkins-style keyboard with a Braille display underneath it. We do have 40 Braille cells with 40 cursor routers above them. Each fifth one is marked with a dot, and then, of course, above that we have our 8 Perkins keys. Below the Braille display, we have our space with Control and Alt on either side. On each side of the Braille cells, we have 2 capsule-shaped keys. These are our scroll up and down keys on either side. If you check to the left of the Perkins keys, this is going to be the top left of the unit. There are 3 square-shaped keys with Braille labels. These are labeled with a W, a B, and a C. The W is for Wi-Fi, the B is for Bluetooth, and the C is for connectivity. So in general, you're going to press the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth keys to toggle Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on and off, and you'll long press these to open the related menus for each. The connectivity key is slightly different in that you'll short press it to resume terminal mode with your most recent connection, and you'll long press it to bring up the connectivity menu. Now, to the right of the Perkins-style keys, there's a large sort of rounded square shape, if that makes any sense. This is your power button. You will press and hold it to power on from a shutdown, but in your day-to-day, you're mostly going to short press it to bring it in and out of sleep mode. To the very left and very right edges of the top face, you will find the stereo speakers. On the front edge of the device, on the very right side, we have a micro SD card slot. Then to the right and left edges, we have what we call cursor keys. These are used with various other key combinations to control various aspects of navigation. And when used by themselves, they can also be set to scroll the display. You can set the left scroll keys, the right scroll keys, and the cursor keys all independently to move by the same or different navigation units, however you decide to set them. We then have, to the right of the left cursor key, if that makes any sense, we have our F1 and our F2 key. And then we have a protrusion here in the front, which I'll get back to in a moment. To the right of the protrusion, we have our F3 and our F4 key. These will be familiar to you if you've used our Braille Sense products, and they generally have the same types of functionality. Now, this little protrusion here in the center, we have the home key, and then on either side of that, there are 2 small holes, which is where the stereo microphones are located. Moving around to the left edge of the device, we have the USB-A host port. This is going to be used to support drives and actually USB audio devices, believe it or not. Yes, this does record, and it gives you high quality recording ability. And speaking of that, above the USB-A port, you will find the record button. You can short press the record button to open the voice recorder application, or you can long press it to immediately begin a recording. Moving around to the right edge, nearest the rear of the device is the USB-C client port. Now, this is going to be the port that you're going to use to charge the device, to connect it as a drive to your PC, or to connect it as a USB Braille display. And we do support both USB Legacy and HID connections, so you can actually connect it as a USB Braille display with your iOS and Android devices as well as your PC. Below the USB-C port, you will find the headphone jack. and this is, of course, used for audio listening. Below the headphone jack, you will find 3 buttons. You will find the voice control button, followed by the volume up, and then the volume down button. For those of you who are familiar with the Sense Player devices, these buttons operate exactly the same as do the same buttons on the Sense Player. So you use the voice control button to cycle through the various options and use the volume up and down buttons to adjust the values for each option. Now let's take a quick tour of the menus. At the very top, we have something called
My Emotion, Y.
My Emotion, and the shortcut is Y. My Emotion is sort of like this PC in that it's going to give you your default folders for books, music, Daisy, and documents. And these are going to be the default flash disk folders. Remember, you can also access micro SD and USB drives. If I move down,
File Manager, F.
we have our File Manager, which is going to give you access to all of your drives and all of the folders on all of your drives. These generally operate in a similar fashion, except the My Emotion area is a bit more limited, and this then is going to be your full File Manager.
Notepad, N.
We have our notepad. For those familiar with the Braille Sense, this is going to be very close to the same notepad that you have in the Braille Sense. You will not be able to emboss from this device. In addition, you will not have access to the Sense Dictionary, and there are a few other minor things, but those would be the major differences.
Connectivity, C.
The connectivity menu is going to contain all of your connections, your USB Legacy, USB HID, and up to 5 Bluetooth connections simultaneously.
Document Reader, K.
You have then the document reader. This application, again, is very, very similar to the Braille Sense application that you know.
Daisy Player, D.
The same is true for the Daisy Player minus the media functions.
Media Player, M.
And the same is true for the media player. Again, we don't have the media functions. We also don't have, the media button functions, I should say. This is a media player, so yes, of course we have media functions. We do not have the media button functions, and we also don't have streaming capabilities on this device. So we are missing the related functions to those things. However, we do have other buttons that can be used to perform media playback in the background while you're doing other things.
Utilities, U.
We have our Utilities menu,
Settings, S.
Settings,
Help, H.
and we have Help.
Help, H.
And that's the end of the menu. So now let's go from the bottom to top. So let's go into the Help menu.
User Guide, U.
And we have the user guide actually inside the Help menu. And if I arrow down,
Information about the Braille Emotion, I.
we have our information dialog now here in the Help menu. The user guide and the information dialog are the same as you're used to seeing. They're just now sub-menu items in the Help menu. I'll go back
User
out,
Guide, Help, H.
and we'll go up.
Settings, S.
If I go into Settings,
Braille Options, B.
another thing that we have changed here is that we have divided our normal global options dialog into 3 different areas. So the first one is Braille options.
Voice Options, V.
We then also have voice options.
General Options, O.
And we have general options, which is basically everything else. If I continue down,
Set Time and Date, T.
we have our Set Time and Date dialog.
Set Up Internet, I.
Set Up Internet.
Bluetooth Manager, M.
Bluetooth Manager. And again, these can be activated with long presses of the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth keys.
Backup Restore Braille Emotion Settings, K.
You're able to back up restore settings.
Quick Start Guide, Q.
We have our usual quick start guide.
Initialize Braille Emotion Options, C.
And we have the ability to initialize Braille emotion options from here. Those of you who are familiar with our devices are going to recognize most of these menus, as you'll see similar things on the Braille Sense and Sense Player. Let's go back
Braille
out.
Options, Settings, S.
And let's go back up to Utilities.
Utilities, U.
And I'll press Enter.
Voice Recorder, V.
We have our voice recorder here. Remember, I also said that you could launch this with a short press of the record button.
Calculator, C.
We have our calculator, and this is going to be more like the Braille Sense calculator, not like the Sense Player calculator, but it's going to be the more robust Braille Sense calculator.
Display Time and Date, D.
display time and date.
Wake up alarm, A.
We have the ability to set wake up alarms.
Stopwatch, W.
Our stopwatch.
Backup restore flash disk, K.
Here is where you can handle your flash disk management, backup restore, and
Format, F.
format.
Sleep timer, J.
We have our sleep timer.
Upgrade Braille eMotion firmware, U.
And we have, of course, the ability to upgrade online via Wi-Fi. That is one of the questions that we've had. So what do you use your Wi-Fi for other than upgrading? Currently, that is what we generally use it for. However, we will use Wi-Fi for features in the future, so stay tuned for future additions and updates to this device. So that will give you a quick overview of the features that this device has, kind of what's included here. We will, of course, be doing future videos that will dive into these things in greater detail. Of course, for sure, the connectivity and how to connect to various devices, as well as a little bit of work with the internal applications. For more information about any of our HIMS products, you can visit our website at www.himsintl.com or send us an email at hims@selvishc.com. Thanks for watching.